Good morning. It's October 23rd, 2020. I'm Dennis Elliott. This is the Papa Dennis Show. Welcome to the show this morning. um, 11 days left until the election coming up. 11 days left, and early voting's going good. The debate held last night. Who won the debate? I don't think there's any question whatsoever as to who won the debate, of course, last night. But instant polls suggest that Biden won the debate. And it didn't turn out exactly like I thought it would either. I thought it was going to be a lot more of a shit show like the first one. But Donald Trump surprised me. He actually was a bit more subdued in this one. And the Hunter Biden stuff never landed. He tried a couple of times with the Hunter Biden thing. I thought he would really hit the Hunter Biden stuff heavy, constantly, and he didn't do it. And when he did try to do some stuff with the Hunter Biden thing, it just never really landed anywhere. Instant polls from last night suggest that Biden won the debate. Instant reaction polls suggest that he did not get what he needed out of the debate. After the debate, instant surveys from pollsters, including CNN and YouGov, showed that Mr. Biden won by a double-digit margin. That is huge. And if these results sound familiar, it's because they're reminiscent of many national survey results that have been released over the last month. That could mean that the debate was more or less a draw on the merits, with most Biden supporters concluding that Mr. Biden won, and vice versa for the for the Trump supporters. So that's according to that. Now, there was on CNN, they had some undecided voters from North Carolina watching the debate last night, and Trump absolutely bombed with these undecided voters. Now, my theory, I've had a theory about undecided voters being actually Trump supporters who are ashamed to admit that they are Trump supporters, and they're trying to figure out a way to not be Trump supporters anymore. And for some reason, they're having problems with it. That's my theory anyway, as to what an undecided voter actually is. And if that's the case, if my theory is correct and undecided voters are actually Trump supporters trying to figure out a way to not be Trump supporters, or they're ashamed to admit that they're Trump supporters, then we may have reached a real tipping point with something, because these undecided voters in the CNN party last night, the watch party, Trump completely bombed in this. Let me show you the video here. This is it's about a 10-minute video, but I'm going to start it at the 6 minutes and 40 seconds into the video. This is the part where they ask the participants who won the debate. Listen to this.
All right, what I want to ask you now, this is what our viewers have been waiting for, and that is this question about who you think won this particular debate. If you can raise your hands for this unofficial vote, the official vote will come at the ballot box for president. The unofficial vote about who won the debate, who thinks Donald Trump won this debate? I don't see any hands. That's a zero. How many people think Joe Biden won this debate?
Wow.
1, 2,
Look
3,
at that.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many people think it was a draw? 1, 2. 2 people say it's a draw. 0 people say Donald Trump. 9 people, Wolf, say Joe Biden.
Gary, the big question, did tonight's debate help any of them decide who they will vote for?
Listen to this.
Okay, and that is the big question. You all came here undecided. You said you were willing to be swayed. I've been saying all night, I talk to people all the time, how can anyone be undecided? These 11 people were undecided when they walked in today. My question is, of the 11 of you, after watching this debate, how many of you are ready to cast a vote for President of the United States? Raise your hands, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most of you are ready to vote. Of the 7 of you, how many of you are ready to vote for President Trump?
Wow.
How many of you
Zero.
are ready to vote for Vice President Biden for president? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's a good day for Joe Biden, according to this group. What I'm very interested in, those of you who aren't ready, very quickly, why aren't you ready to vote for president?
Probably for fear of missing out. So you could find that one piece of information that if I were to vote tomorrow and Donald Trump does or Joe Biden does something on Friday or Saturday, I'd be like, well, I shouldn't have voted.
All right, so you're still waiting for more. Okay. As I mentioned, you are leaning towards Donald Trump. You're not ready
Idiot.
yet.
I still want to wait and see what happens over the next week and a half.
What could happen?
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
Who was the third person who said they weren't ready to vote? You. Okay. Let me ask you the question too.
I want to see some evidence that the Democrats won't tank the economy.
You think you'll get that evidence in the next 12 days?
I think I can do some research and see what I think about it. I mean, is there assurance? Never.
Okay. Final person right over here. Tell me why you are not ready to cast your vote yet. What are you waiting for?
Well, I'm pro-life, so I'd like to see, whether Judge Barrett gets on the court.
If she gets on the court, what does that mean? Who will you vote for?
I'll probably vote for Biden.
You'll vote for Biden if she gets on the court, and why is that?
Well, I think that he is a stronger leader who is more willing to support fair elections and lead both parties more back toward the center and away from extremism.
So you're saying if the justice you want gets on the court, you no longer have to worry about her not getting on the court, and then you could select Biden. But if she didn't get selected, you might vote for Trump because you want her to get selected.
Right, or someone like
I mean, that sounds confusing, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard.
All right. We try to make television interesting when we do stories like this, and you're a bunch of very interesting people. Thanks for watching the debate with us. Great Americans, great North Carolinians. These are the voters who represent all of us in the United States of America.
All right.
Right now, I want to
This
see how
was
tonight's debate played with
let
voters
me,
out there.
Let me stop that. This sort of reaffirms what I'd been saying about Trump, about undecided voters. I think they are Trump supporters, but that was significant. I think we may have reached a real tipping point with undecided voters, aka hardcore Trump supporters looking for a way out, or non-hardcore Trump supporters looking for a way out. I think we may have reached a real tipping point. Maybe not after that debate, but at this point in the election cycle. That's my opinion anyway. But I thought that was very, very significant there, that what CNN had with those undecided North Carolina voters last night. New cases hit 3-month high as COVID-19 hospitalizations soar. I wanted to bring this up because, of course, Donald Trump trying to still pretend that that we don't have any sort of that we don't have any problem with COVID-19. That's what Donald Trump is trying to say. And it's just not true. You look at this, yesterday was the first day with more than 70,000 new U.S. COVID-19 cases in 3 months, and the hospitalization rate is soaring. 32 states reported rising COVID-19 infections, according to data from the Johns Hopkins University. Thursday was the highest day for new infections since July 24th, and the day with the fourth highest total ever at 71,671. So deaths are also creeping upward. 856 on Thursday. 7-day average of deaths continues to climb and is up to 763. Updated model from the University of Washington's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation projects more than 140,000 Americans will likely die from the virus in the next 3 months. So that's where we stand with COVID-19 right now. In spite of what Trump is trying to tell you, it is not getting better. Don't believe him, all right? Now, here is something that I wanted to this is good news right here. This story is about public policy polling. Public policy polling is a North Carolina firm that does polling all across the country, and he had the guy who runs public policy polling in North Carolina, Tom Jensen, says the outcome should be different for Biden and other Democrats this year in the election. Let me read some of this to you because this was very interesting. Veteran political pollster Tom Jensen said he had a feeling when North Carolina's early voting numbers were released at 7:30 p.m. back in 2016 that Donald Trump would win North Carolina's delegates and possibly the necessary 270 votes in the Electoral College to secure the presidency. His organization had already predicted a year earlier that Trump would compete for the Republican nomination and for the presidency. But watching the polls across the nation, crunching the latest numbers this year, Jensen told a virtual crowd in North Carolina yesterday that he expects former Vice President Joe Biden to win the White House this time and for the Democratic Party to win control of the U.S. Senate and build on its majority in the U.S. House. He says both sides are going to turn out in record numbers. He said if Biden is winning that 7:30 p.m. vote drop by about 10 points, he said we can feel pretty good that Trump's not going to be able to make that up. Now he's talking about the 7:30 vote drop in North Carolina on November 3rd. He said if Biden is winning that vote drop, because they're going to be releasing the mail-in votes and the early voting totals at 7:30. And he said if Biden is winning by 10 points at 7:30 when they start releasing those first votes, then we can feel pretty good that Trump is not going to be able to make that up. Let's hope that's the case. Jensen's public policy polling does not hide its progressive leanings. It is a progressive Democratic polling company, but they also carry a strong reputation for accurate surveys of voter sentiment, whether he likes the results or not. PPP's own polls track consistently with other polls tallied by aggregators like 538.com, showing Biden leading Trump by about 4 points and Democrat Cal Cunningham beating incumbent Republican Senator Tom Tillis in one of a handful of U.S. Senate races that could determine the balance of power in Washington. Now, what's different this year versus 2016 is that most voters have already made up their minds. Jensen pointed out that on average, Hillary Clinton had a 5-point lead in polls in October 2016, but that lead was about 45% to Trump's 40%, leaving undecided voters still in double digits, and Trump won most of that gap. The latest PPP poll, in line with other polls, has Biden leading Trump in North Carolina 50-46, with far fewer undecided. Instead of having a lot of voters still on the fence and not really sure what they're doing, almost everybody has decided this time around, and Biden is already above 50%. He says not only are there very few undecided, there aren't very many people who are open to rethinking who they're going to vote for. In Jensen's analysis, Biden probably will not need North Carolina's electoral votes in order to beat Trump, assuming he wins all the states that Hillary Clinton won in 2016. He then needs to win just 3 out of 4 battleground states where he's currently leading polls by at least 5 points: Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. But polls suggest that Biden will also win North Carolina, Florida, and possibly even the more competitive states of Texas and Georgia, triggering a Democratic landslide. Wow. This is from a very respected pollster here. Jensen said there are clues for this outcome. Listen to this. Clues for this outcome are hidden in congressional district polling in the suburbs of major cities like Atlanta, Dallas, and Phoenix. In 2016, he said, that polling showed Clinton trailing Barack Obama's vote tallies by 10 to 15% in the same districts. He said what the district level polling was telling us was more compelling and more accurate than what the statewide polling was telling us. Now, Jensen said PPP has conducted 400 different polls this month, many of them targeting particular congressional districts. Biden is consistently outperforming Clinton. He said, I think we've had one poll in those 400 where Trump is doing better than he did in 2016. He said it's hard for Trump to win Georgia if he's losing a suburban Atlanta district by 11 points that he won by 2 points in 2016. Jensen also said Biden is polling better in delegate-rich Texas than not only Clinton did in 2016, but also doing better than Beto O'Rourke, who nearly took Senator Ted Cruz's seat in 2018. He said, I really do feel like Biden is going to win Texas based on everything that we're seeing at the district level. This is significant for somebody in a pollster that that is as reputable as this company is to say that they think Biden may actually win Texas. He said Texas could also become the linchpin of a sizable Democratic majority that could make serious progress on some of Biden's signature issues like pandemic stimulus, healthcare access, and green infrastructure. He said polls also show the Democrats likely to net at least 3 new seats by winning in Colorado, Arizona, Maine, and North Carolina while losing in Alabama. That would split the Senate 50-50 with Vice President Mike Pence or Kamala Harris breaking ties, depending on who wins the the presidency. A clear majority in the Senate will probably come from the winners of tight races in Iowa, Montana, Texas, or either of the 2 contested Senate seats in Georgia. He said it looks like both of the Senate elections in Georgia are headed for runoffs. If you can get that up to 53, 54 seats, then you can actually do everything that you're hoping to do. But it could be, if it goes to a runoff, it could be sometime next year before we find out who's ahead in the Senate, whether we win the Senate. But this is really good news right here, and hopefully this can come true. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But this was, I wanted to give you this story here because Public Policy Polling is a pretty good organization. And the fact that they are coming out and saying this is very significant. So we'll have to see what's going on. North Carolina early voting statistics. This is through yesterday. Total voted 2,437,417. Excuse me. Don't know why I'm having trouble here today clearing my throat. But anyway, 2,437,417 people have voted so far. That's through yesterday in North Carolina. In-person votes, 1,744,218. Let's look at total voted in Guilford County, 33.2% is what we've got as percentage of registered voters, 33.2% so far. Total voted by party registration, Democrats, 42.6% so far in North Carolina. Republicans 28.4%. This is pretty good so far. In-person votes 1,744,218 through yesterday. 40% Democrats, 32% Republicans so far. Returned and accepted mail ballots. Return rate for Democrats is 51.8% so far, 47.7% for Republicans. Pretty close there as far as returned and accepted mail ballots. Rejected, pretty small percentage actually rejected. So that's where we stand right now on early voting statistics for North Carolina, 2,437,417. If you look at the total number of votes that we had in 2016, we had 2,437,417 votes cast in 2016 in North Carolina. No, I'm sorry. We've had 2,437,417 votes cast so far this year. So far in this election in 2020. In 2016, we had a total of 4,739,292 votes cast in North Carolina. So we are at 51% of the total number of votes that were cast in 2016. That's pretty darn good. That is pretty good. If you look here at Guilford County, of course, back in 2016, Guilford County went for Hillary Clinton with almost 58% of the vote. These blue counties right here are the ones that went for Clinton, and the red counties went for Trump in 2016. So it's going to be interesting to compare this from 2016 to what we've got this year. In North Carolina, Republicans want the court to change the long absentee deadline. We talked about it yesterday, the fact that in North Carolina, we have if you get your absentee, if your absentee ballot is postmarked by November 3rd and received by November 12th, it will be counted. All right. But Republicans don't like that. They want to change that because naturally they want to count as few votes as they can. So they're trying to take it to the U.S. Supreme Court now and get that changed. We'll have to wait and see if they're successful on that. Democratic turnout advantage and pre-election vote narrows in key states. Democrats continue to maintain their lead over Republicans in pre-election day ballots of North Carolina and Florida, but the gap is narrowing, as we showed you. In Florida, 48% of mail ballots cast so far have come from Democrats. 31% have come from Republicans as of yesterday morning. The breakdown is reversed when it comes to in-person early voting. This is in Florida again. 46% of the ballots have come from Republicans, 37% from Democrats. The current Democratic lead in total ballots cast in Florida narrowed from 21 points since the beginning of last week to 13 points in the most recent data. So that's where we stand right now as far as the voting goes in North Carolina, in Florida, and across the country. But this story here from Public Policy Polling, this was interesting because the district polling that they're doing in congressional districts show that Biden is consistently outperforming what Clinton did in 2016. That is very significant. The congressional district polling there could really be the answer to what we're wondering about as far as the election goes. And then again, the undecided voters that went with Biden after the debate last night, that was just very interesting. That's where we are right now. Get out there and vote. You got until the 31st to vote. Don't forget about if you're mailing in your ballot, hurry up and get it in, okay? And register on ballottrax.net, ballottrax.net, so you can track your mail-in ballot. Thanks for joining us today on the Papa Dennis Show. I am Dennis Elliott, and we'll see you back here at least by Monday, probably, hopefully, maybe sometime over the weekend if something happens. Have a chance to get on here and talk with you. Don't forget to, you can check out our podcast. We're on all of the major platforms. We're on Apple podcast, iHeartRadio podcast, Google podcast, Spotify podcast. We also are on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram TV. Just search for the Papa Dennis Show. Thanks for joining us, and have yourself a great weekend. If I don't talk to you before the weekend is over with,